I am on this lovely Tuesday. I say lovely Tuesday. It's been a bit rainy and awful outside for me. I don't know about everybody else. Is anyone else feeling? I've been feeling a little bit down today.
Not really.
Sunshine before October, and now it's like proper autumn, and I'm like, well,
yes.
I like it like this. It's much more atmospheric.
Atmospheric. I prefer it when it snows properly. That's what I like. Proper
That'd be nice this year.
Snow. We've already got Emma saying hello, Emma. Hello, everybody. So welcome to Free2talk TV. So today, I think if people have seen it, we are going to be talking about the murder of the MP David Amess, but also talk about stuff around that. I'm going to probably say this a few times through this, but for anybody watching, please add some comments, please like and all that kind of stuff. But this isn't the place to kind of say anything along the lines of, I'm glad he's dead or anything like that because of political stances. I won't really stand for it, to be honest. As much as I think we all know, I'm kind of anti-government because I disagree with their policies, but I don't wish harm or death upon anyone. But before we get into that, so please say hello if you want to. Please join the conversation. Before we get into that, Richard, how are you? How's your week been?
I'm feeling a whole lot better than last week.
Yeah,
I feel 100% again.
Excellent.
That's good.
Considering I think from us being online last week, you gave me the lurgy. I'm blaming you or Connor from work because I was a bit sick over the weekend.
And you never met, so
yeah. No,
wasn't me.
You gave me a computer virus.
Okay.
Just unplug it back in, and then the virus will be gone.
That's exactly what I had to do. Exactly what I had to do. Wicked. I'm glad you're feeling better. How you've been watching a bit of wrestling, haven't you, in your spare time?
Yeah, a bit of wrestling, a couple movies.
Yeah,
nothing too big.
And you're going to see Venom in a couple of days.
Yes.
Yeah, excellent. You'll have to let me know what it's like. And talking of cinema stuff, Owen, how's your week been?
Busy. Okay,
busy?
I'll be on it. Very, very busy. So Saturday was the busiest. I was up till 2 a.m, roughly 3 a.m. working.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. I enjoyed it. Still, I enjoyed it. Having to clean the theaters is great fun. Because if I find anything, it's great fun. Because literally, I found a £1 coin this time instead of. About a £3 coin
instead of stealing sweets.
Yeah.
Well, that was what I was looking for as well. Looking for sweets. But other than that, I'm doing okay, to be honest. I'm doing quite well. And I'll explain later.
I should actually ask. I mean, did you tell your boss of the stuff you found?
Yeah, he was in the room.
He was in the room, right? I'm just checking, just in case he watches. And he goes, "Hold on a second."
No, he knew. He knew.
Bless you. Right, wicked. So you've had all right, and I keep meaning to come down to the cinema and actually throw popcorn at you.
I'm there tomorrow. Come and see me tomorrow.
Well, I'm working late tomorrow. I won't be able to. It might be a weekend job.
I'm working from 6 till 10 tomorrow. If you want to come and see.
I don't finish work till 8:30. And plus, I'm going to work. I'm starting work about 9 in the morning as well tomorrow. So the last thing I'll probably want to do is go to the cinema.
Go to the cinema, have a chill, watch a film.
Date night. Date night. Talking of date nights, when's our date night, Kevin?
Well, we had a lovely date lunch, didn't we?
We did.
Me and 8 other people. So that was nice.
A bit of a lunch for your leaving do, wasn't it?
Yes,
got you a few presents.
Nice. It was lovely.
Have you lit the endless match yet? Have you tried to give it?
No, me and my wife have proper been playing with it though. So.
Oh, have you? But you haven't lit it. You haven't got it working.
Right here. I've just been playing and trying to set fires. It's great, which you should never do.
Is it not lighting?
I think it will eventually. I think it just needs to. Ooh.
Oh.
That'll come out when you set your work laptop on fire 3 days before you leave.
And before you have to give it back.
Yeah.
So you've just been packing and stuff, haven't you?
Yeah, packing, trying to sort out my wife's car as well and stuff like that. So a lot of stressful things, but it's all part of the fun.
Yeah. Good. Cool. Well, my week, as I said, I've did my back in. and was ill at the weekend, and that was pretty much my weekend. That was all I did.
Fun time.
The girlfriend and I watched a really terrible film as well on like Amazon
What
called
was it?
Infinite. Called
Ugh.
Infinite. Oh,
Infinite.
it was terrible. It was really bad. It wasn't even like good bad like Sharknado type stuff is. You know, it wasn't even like that. It was just
Sharknado,
bad.
Love Gun Shark Boy, The Bulk.
Yeah, I think my favorite, one of my favorite versions of those films, because you get two-headed shark attack, and then there was three-headed shark attack, and Sharknado 5 in space and all that kind of stuff. One of my favorite types of films like that is a film called Zombievers.
Oh, you've mentioned about this.
Yeah, it's basically zombie beavers.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
And when they bite something, obviously they turn into a zombie, but they also turn part beaver. And you've got these like people going around with massive teeth like a beaver. Just really fun. Anyway, right. So we are talking about something serious today. So the murder of David Amess is stabbed at his constituent surgery. I think it's very, very bad. I mean, this is 2 MPs that have been killed in 5 years. Joe Cox, the last one, Labour MP. But I think I want to talk about it because it's really just the tip of the iceberg for a lot of this kind of stuff. And I think we should talk around it, right? So first, I want to ask if anybody knows what a surgery is.
Depending on what you mean by surgery, either plastic surgery or...
No, so an MP surgery, so a political
MP
surgery. So when they hold a surgery, nobody know what it is?
Is that like a sort of like a Congress gathering or something like that?
Kind of, yes.
Like a small group of them in a building having a conversation about something or a policy.
Not even a small group. It's usually one-to-one stuff. So what MPs normally do is they have a surgery. I mean, this is important because other MPs have been attacked at their surgeries, and Jo Cox, when she was murdered on the doorstep of her house, was on her way to her surgery. Now, a surgery is an opportunity for, say Richard, you're the MP of Northampton all of a sudden.
All right.
Now, myself, I've got an issue that I've been struggling to sort out either with the local council, bin collections or something like that, or I'm not getting enough help. The government have cut my extra £20 a week universal credit, which means I can't turn the heating on as we go into winter, blah, blah, blah. There's all this, all these kind of stuff that affects normal people. The MP surgery is the chance for you as the MP to see me face to face and fight my battle, right? As you see fit. So an example of that would be particularly in David Amess's case, he's what we call a backbencher. So he's not like a Boris Johnson or part of the cabinet, making the big decisions. What backbenchers normally are is they represent us properly. So I can write a letter to you, Richard, as my MP, or phone you, or come see you face to face and go, I've got a problem. You're my last chance saloon. I need help with this. So it's a chance for the MPs really to meet normal people in their constituency. Okay, when they're not giving a speech, it's usually one-to-one. I was listening to a podcast earlier about how almost all MPs, have the one thing they always have at their surgery is a box of tissues, because they're usually dealing with people who are literally at the last chance saloon that need and desperate for help. So situations that have been fought in government in some individual cases. I think a prime example of someone that did this directly would be Jeremy Corbyn, when he was talking about individuals' names and naming them and going, this is what they want, this is their problem. Jeremy Corbyn did it on a very wide scale, but this is generally what happens. Okay, so with that in mind, that is where they meet. This is where David Amess was killed. This is where several other MPs have been attacked or on their way to be killed, because the public know what time the surgeries are. Do you think it's a good idea that we still have them? Big questions again.
It's another big question.
Kevin, you can go first. I'll let you go first while these boys think.
I think yes. I think security needs to be looked at, obviously. But I think you know, over the last couple of weeks, I've said a few times that I think politics and normal people are quite divided. So this is a good step to bridge that gap. So I think it's important that it stays somehow. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to point out about security. So after Joe Cox was murdered, they did end up having, like, especially in her constituency, like PCSOs or police officers walk around with like MPs or whatever. But it lasted like a week or two. That was it. That was all they did. Okay. What about you, Owen? What do you think?
I agree with Kevin that it should still be a thing because it is for people at their lowest point where they really, really need the help. And that's a good connection between political individuals and the actual public, despite like other people further down the bench line, as it were. So, as you said, backbenchers represent us more than the others do, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, arguably, I mean, David Amess is a good example. He's been a backbencher for like 40 years. Okay, he has a dyed in the wall, ignoring his politics for a second, but he represented his constituents to the best of his ability by not running properly for cabinet because he thought he would do more where he was.
Yeah. So I do think that the security for those type of events needs to be looked at more, because clearly they don't have the best security for it.
Okay.
I think people can walk straight into these MP centres, right?
Well, you make an appointment.
Yeah.
So
make an appointment and you just turn up.
Because obviously it's still being investigated. I don't want to talk about the suspect or anything really, but I do know from what I've read, he made an appointment to see David Amess, even though he wasn't his MP. He just claimed he lived there. Got in, stabbed him in front of his workers and aides and other people there. So that's what happened. Richard, what about you? What do you think?
Same with Kevin and Owen. Security needs looked at. Did you say that the public know about the appointment?
Yeah. So generally, it's because you need to know when they have their surgery. So lots of MPs will go, "This is when I'm available for surgery," like a drop-in, but please make your appointments in this time. So David Amess, for example, was at a church. Other people might have it at community centres or mosques or wherever is best for them or they think to get certain people. Yeah.
Okay.
So who should provide this security then? Who should this security be made up of?
It would have to be some sort of police force.
Okay.
Like, I know that's a little bit easier said than done, I will admit. But when it comes to like the political side of things and of the representation they do get, because you've got to admit, a lot of people don't particularly like the political individuals sometimes. You got to admit that. That's basically 85% fact. The other 25% is a little bit
110%? You sound like a politician making up statistics.
No, I'm trying to work 15%. There we go.
Yeah.
The rest of there we go, 15%. I got that wrong. I do think that if they're going to be announcing they're going to have a surgery, I think they would need some sort of security just because of this clear event. Because like you said, there's been 2 now in the last 5 years, both going to the same sort of event, and now those 2 individuals have been murdered. Obviously, we've had many other ones in the past where they haven't had that sort of issue, but they've still been attacked.
Yeah.
So realistically speaking, there should be some sort of security measures whilst in a surgery like that, because as the evidence sees it fit, it's clear that these surgeries aren't the most safest. As much as they want to make it as non-scary and less threatening as possible without police officers there, at least have some sort of officer or security measure in the building so that they can report anything straight away immediately.
Yeah. Okay. So, Richard, do you think it should be the police as well doing this?
Yeah, I think they would be best off doing the job. If that makes sense. That didn't make sense in my head.
It did make sense in your head. You just made sense there. Kevin, he's just muted himself. I'll wait for him to. Oh, is he back? Kevin?
Sorry, my wife is being a bit annoying, and I asked for my phone. She's pretending to lob it at me, so I don't appreciate it.
So
Relationship goals.
Do you think this is a job of the police?
I think the police are best equipped to do it, but I also think that with everything going on in our communities at the moment, there'd be a lot of backlash if there's time and effort and money spent on protecting these politicians and not in the community. But you could argue that as well for when there's football games and Wimbledon and all these things, although arguably that's more of the community. But I think the police would be the best equipped to do so. Yeah.
I mean,
can I just add on to it a little bit? Can I add on? These surgeries only last a day, don't they?
Well, it depends on the MP. I think some MPs might do it every week on a certain day or once a month. It all depends on the individual.
If it was like 2 police officers that did it, just 2 police officers, just station like these 2, go and do that today, and another day, you 2, you're doing this today, like that. If it was like every week or every couple of days in the month, for instance, maybe that's okay. If it was every single day, then you probably have an issue. But if it was like once a month or something like that, I think that's fine.
Especially you've had an issue considering, we've got 20,000 less police officers on the front line. So, since when? Since austerity started. So, I mean, the other thing, I know we think the police are best equipped, but in some cases, the individuals that attend these surgeries might have an issue with the police. So what if it's with all the thing that's happened with Sarah Everard and all that kind of stuff, and there's loads of stuff coming out about misogyny in police forces, and respect for women. What if it's a woman that is going to see her MP and the police are there? I mean, surely that'll prevent her possibly even talk about it. So it's a difficult one, I think. Because also there's arguments that these surgeries is direct democracy in action, because you can talk to someone that represents you and they can take your case to Parliament. That's direct democracy, not just me moaning on social media and going, "Oi, sort yourself out." Yeah. Do you think we've got anything else we can possibly do to protect the MPs?
You could potentially just do it like we're doing now. You could have an online format where it's the same. So obviously there's then, I would say, an issue with those who don't have the internet. But if you set it up in whatever building it would have been anyway, have the aides to do it and sort that out, and have a online platform, then that would in theory be safer. Because I mean, you're doing it online.
But not everyone has that access, do they?
No, but if you're setting it up because I assume whoever goes to these surgeries, they're going to walk to this specific building anyway. If you do it in that building, so
I get what you mean.
Still doing the whole same thing. The MP can just stay in their office or in their home, even and allow, because I mean, we've all seen the power of Skype and Zoom and all these other fancy things.
Well, we haven't stopped using it since the first lockdown, have we?
Exactly.
StreamYard. Remember, promote what we're using.
Don't go that far.
Well, next thing you know, we'll have to be streaming on what we'll be streaming on. If now StreamYard says,
to be honest, StreamYard is great. It's paid for. There's no way we're not going to use it. I don't think.
No, exactly.
So have you got any other ideas other than what Kevin said? Before I ask the next question.
I don't.
No? Okay.
You could get local security, maybe. Like some people that are trained in keeping someone safe. Like, for instance, Western Fables have their own little security there. They're not police officers. They're just there to make sure everyone is okay. They're not. They don't have the police badge. They are just known security for the building. You could do that if people have the issue of the police, maybe. Just to cancel that out. So there is someone there that is trained like the police, but
Like
not
the
the police.
So like Lawrence, my mate Lawrence, who has he's a SIA badge and got the doorman and stuff. So you could have that kind of thing. People that are specially trained. Okay, that's not bad.
Like the doorman for just like opening the door for a restaurant.
Yeah, just them, Owen, just like you wanted. Yeah, I can see that.
I'm just making the joke. I'm making the joke. I know exactly what you mean now.
Oh dear. Right. Okay. So the next question I want to ask is: do the MPs deserve protection? And what makes the position they hold deserve that protection?
I think it's more of the stigma that they actually have because of what they're working in.
Mm-hmm.
They need protection because they are just as human as anyone else. It's just the job that they do is what.
Okay.
It's just because the job that they do, they get a very particular stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, when we talk about political individuals, we're like, oh, they're doing politics. They always lie. But not all of them, for instance. But you've got to think they are human beings. They are human. They are just like every single person on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
So, don't they, despite of what like security they need, despite what their job does, don't you think they do need security just as much as we need security?
Okay, cool. Richard?
Yeah.
Why do they deserve protection, Richard?
Come back to me on that. Go to Kevin.
Back to you. Okay, right. Kevin, do you think they deserve the protection and why?
I think it very much depends how you want to like define deserve. Oh, that was hard to say. I think when it gets to the point that they are receiving threats and where actually their position is one such as a politician who, does stand for one. Let's be honest, they stand for these one things and they've chosen their parties accordingly and stuff. Mm-hmm. There's always going to be other people who disagree. I don't think they deserve it if they're driving down the M1 from Northampton to London. Yeah. But I think maybe in certain situations, they do, prime example being these surgeries.
I mean, because I think it's an interesting argument because like it obviously puts forward that MPs deserve this protection, right? Because they're in an at-risk group when in public. But how many people that work for the NHS are attacked every year? Whilst at work.
Yeah.
Me and you, Kevin. We work in some very challenging, poverty-stricken areas, and one of our things is safeguarding and gangs. Do we deserve protection?
Well, I think everyone deserves protection if it could be afforded, And I know
every single one of us will have a bodyguard.
That's it. That would be amazing.
Yeah, my bodyguard's just out of camera. He is right there.
Yeah,
just out of camera.
And I think you're right because like you say, I know that hospitals have securities and stuff, but actually, they're not on the ward a lot of the time. And my wife herself has been attacked before on ward while she's working. So you're right. It shouldn't just be like, well, actually, because they're politicians, we should protect them. But it's one of those things that actually you could go so far and say any at-risk job then should need protection, which in an ideal world, that would be great, but it's just not possible, is it?
Yeah. I mean, swinging it on its head, then do we think that politicians, like, so your wife, working for the NHS, being a nurse, us being youth and community workers, and then politicians, they've chosen to put themselves in harm's way. So slipping that on its head, should we kind of accept it as a risk of the job?
Yes,
it's like no. big questions today. Sorry, boys, big questions.
I think it's a yes and no there because actually you go into these jobs like I mean, police officers, I'm sure they expect that they're going to have violence. As a youth worker, I expect to see violence. I don't expect, no. I know that there is a slight risk that there might be violence towards me,
Mhm.
However, I don't expect that to happen to me. I don't, when I go out to our sessions, it's very rare that I'm like, oh, I'm going to get punched in the face or something,
I
And
mean, I just go to our sessions and wait to get kicked in the face by a football.
yeah, that is true. But I mean, I'm sure this MP also, when he left his house, didn't think today, or he probably thought, I'm not expected to be stabbed to death. So yeah.
Richard, you got anything to add? Now you've been thinking about it and mulling it over.
I think everything I was thinking of has been said.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's all right. Okay, right. So I just want to go through and talk about like MPs that have been attacked. Okay. So obviously in the last 5 years, I don't know if you boys remember Jo Cox. She was shot and stabbed on her doorstep.
Yeah.
I do want to point out when I go through these, there's not really a trend on one political party being attacked more than another. Okay. It all seems to stem from some kind of extremism or terrorism. So we had Jo Cox, 2015. That was by a right-wing extremist who apparently shouted like Britain first at the time, and was basically should we say groomed to a certain degree into those beliefs. But there was another in 2010. A Labour MP was stabbed twice in the stomach at a constituency surgery. He luckily survived. In 2000, a Liberal Democrat MP was attacked, also during a surgery. He was wounded, but his aide was stabbed to death, and that was with a sword. So, not just a knife, a sword.
That's scary, eh?
But then the last actual death before that, you have to go far back to like 1990 and then 1984. Okay, so I'm talking about in my lifetime. And they were both bombs from the IRA. Do we all know who the IRA are? Because I don't know if it's you and Richard wouldn't really know.
No,
so they might be a bit young.
Yeah, they might be a bit young. So since the 1920s, basically, the IRA, which is the Irish Republican Army, was like a terrorist organisation operating out of Ireland that would set off car bombs and stuff in England because they wanted independence and stuff like that. And in 1990, it was Ian Gow. So he was targeted because he worked in Thatcher's government at the time, which was very like hardline anti-IRA. And then 1984 was another car bomb from someone else that works in the government at the time. Ulster Unionist MP was shot in 1981 in Belfast. And then you kind of go through what we would class, I think, as assassinations, actual targeted rather than extremism. But I want to swing us back to what Kevin said about, I wouldn't expect the MPs to have. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Richard. Yeah.
What does it mean by extremism? That word.
So extremism. So terrorist. So a terrorist would be like an extreme ideology. So, we've got like right-wing terrorism, extreme right-wing people that are very racist. Anyone of a different color is the enemy type thing. Yeah. Or religious extremism. Which comes from, the jihad and jihadis and stuff like that. Yeah?
All right.
Is that cool? Right. So, so going back to Kevin's comment about, I wouldn't expect them to have protection whilst they're driving down the M1. But what about if they're using public transport? Because the reason I asked that is because there's been lots of cases, particularly against women MPs, when they're using public transport or to get around, of them actually being attacked in public, and people later being arrested and all that kind of stuff. So how far does this go?
I want to be a bit controversial and say I don't think they should be using public transport.
Yeah.
Okay. So does that mean like we can't have the picture Jeremy Corbyn did of sitting on the floor of a train?
No, when there was ample seats.
when there was seats, yeah. Oh,
yeah, no,
dear.
well, I just think with the choices of a job, certain jobs you do, there are choices you make, and there's also things that you may not be able to do anymore. Okay, so I mean, I can't think on as a youth worker right now, but there are things that I would have made a conscious decision either not to do or whatever because I'm a youth worker. And I think that's got to be the same for every job.
Yeah.
And I think if you're in, I guess a public figure like a politician, maybe, maybe take a taxi, maybe invest in your own car, and don't because I mean, I don't know if you boys have been on the tube, but it's rampacked, it's horrible.
It's hell.
And actually, you know what? If someone's going to attack you, it is a great place to do it as well.
I've been on the underground in London. I've been in the subway of New York City, so I definitely know the two. I've been, I know, I know.
That must be awful.
I'll happily admit Britain's underground's better. I'll say that. I'll happily admit that because it just looks way too dangerous in New York's one, but they need the more tracks. I'll say that. So I do know that they do get very much cramped.
Yeah.
But you're not really intending to be on a tube for that long, are you?
Well, it depends where you're going.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. How often you're using it. I mean, some of these MPs might be going in and around London, I suppose, on the tube. But also they're public figures, so they're easily recognisable. The stuff I've read and about how much hate mail, especially particular MPs. I'm going to use Diane Abbott as an example here, who so we say right of centre circles is really demonised because she's black and a woman and has made some mistakes. But she probably gets so much hate mail that's made more accessible because we've got this online stuff and is attacked at surgeries and stuff. So I mean, again, is that just something you have to accept as part of the job?
I think so. I think you're going to get hate mail. I mean, even people that, bless them, don't do anything wrong get hate mail. Some people get hate mail because, like, let's think of some YouTubers. Maybe they've decided to stop doing YouTube. They get hate mail because of that. People who love them are sending them hate mail because they've stopped doing something. So,
yeah. Or they tag that person on Twitter. Hey, Richard. I
mean, like you said, hate mail, and with online growing, Twitter.
Yeah.
Literally, it's just full of hate mail.
Pretty much.
Generally what it is.
Facebook's for memes, Twitter's for hate mail, Instagram and Snapchat are, I don't know.
That's so funny hearing you say that, Owen, because actually when I was younger than you,
LinkedIn,
when
don't
I was
worry,
about 14,
MySpace.
I was like, Facebook was the place to be. That was where everything went on. That's where you shared everything.
It was first Facebook, then it was MySpace.
No. MySpace was cooler first.
I'm just saying, what was first? What was the first one? It was Facebook first, then it was MySpace. Bebo.
I remember
LinkedIn, Reddit, and then you got the most.
I use Reddit all the time.
I have it, but I don't use it. Is that a bad thing?
No, not really. I mean, I find it more accessible because it's you subscribe to stuff you're interested in, and yes, there is examples of extremism on there, or there was a problem with incel stuff on Reddit. I don't know if you boys know what incel is. So it's basically very misogynistic men blaming their lack of a sex life on women. That's it's women's fault that they.
I think I've seen a couple of them.
So I mean, that might be something else we talk about down the line. But because Reddit is moderated by people who set up these pages, it can be very good and very bad. So anything that comes about that is classed as offensive or extremist, they can just go, no, you're not allowed in. But obviously, when people have that power, it's like, you're not coming in because you got glasses. There can be that kind of stuff.
So I'm not wearing glasses right now.
I mean, do we think an MP gets paid enough to deal with this? 80 grand a year.
Yes.
Deal with all that kind of hate.
Yeah.
When police officers and nurses get far less and deal with it every day.
See, you're now talking about a different conversation altogether because there is a yes and no. Like I'm going to quote Kevin it. There is a yes and no answer to that because.
Well, give us the yes and the no. Go on, Owen.
So yes, because they are public figures. Everyone knows the faces the majority of the time. Even in the little small ones, people could recognize them as being political individuals. So, and yes, because of the amount of stress and work and probably even worry about being attacked publicly by other people who have different views of political opinions. So, yeah, getting paid for that. No, because technically speaking, as political individuals, we have the emergency service, nurses, doctors, fire brigade, policing, and even the charitable like emergency services like the Coast Guard, the air ambulance, I think the police helicopter is a charity, I think.
I think it is, yeah.
I think it is. Like, those are all essential things that money could go to as well. So there is a yes and no that realistically they are paid more than what other people who do a more sustainable job-wise do deserve. So it's a really borderline of yes and no. It's really borderline.
Okay.
You can't. It's a you can't win situation. It's a can't win situation with that answer of yes or no. You can't win with either side.
Cool. All right, that's fair enough. Right, so I want to kind of talk now about can we judge these MPs on their voting record? I say this because obviously I put the disclaimer at the beginning about some conversations I was seeing online. You know, death to the Tories, all that kind of stuff. Death to the Ramonas. You know, this kind of polarization of us versus them that we've had since, I would argue, since Brexit. Really, it's properly really drawn a line in the sand between people. I think, Kevin, you're kind of nodding in agreement there, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely.
With the polarization. So obviously David Amess has been murdered whilst at a surgery. But if I told you that he always voted against equal gay rights, he always voted against allowing marriage between two people of the same sex, and he pretty much almost always voted against laws to promote equality and human rights.
Is that actual factual, by the way?
That's factual. That's factual. Yeah,
that's factual. Okay.
That's factual. Does that change in your minds the what's the word? The severity of the murder, because it doesn't match. So that doesn't match any of my views at all. Does that, if you don't agree with his views, does that change the severity of the murder? No,
because that's probably his opinion. Everyone is entitled to their own opinions and their own choices and what they think. And if he truly didn't believe that was the right thing, then obviously, he's going to vote against it because that's him. That's for him. Yeah. So I don't have a problem with that because it's his opinion. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. My opinion is different to his opinion. I could sit with him and talk to him about my opinion. I can't force my opinion on him.
Yeah.
And he can't force his opinion on me.
Yeah.
So I don't actually have a problem with that. I still think that he was just murdered. He was assassinated and killed for other reasons.
Yeah.
I bet those reasons could have been why he was killed or murdered or assassinated. I can't say for what it certainly is because it's still an investigation. Maybe, I don't know. But I don't have a problem with him. He's got an opinion.
Sorry, just give me 1 second. There we go. Just getting some trolling on YouTube. which I'm not going to show. Carry on, never, Kevin.
I would argue that I totally agree with Owen. You might have to help me with this one, James, because I'm not sure politically how it works. But those votes that he voted against, is that him voting or is that his constituency voting?
So that's the difficulty. You've kind of jumped on on what I wanted to say here. So an MP is given that position to represent the people of his constituency, right? I'm getting more. There we go.
Oh, we're being abused, are we?
Yeah, someone's quickly setting up an account to basically put stuff on there. Oh dear. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So this is the difficulty. So MPs should represent their constituents, right? So I tell you that all that stuff, that's what he voted against. Now he's a Catholic. He was a Catholic. So that kind of, for me, represents, I can see why he voted against it, because that's him showing his religion. But is that what his constituents wanted? I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a predominantly Catholic constituency. But he always voted for a hunting ban and supported, animal welfare across the board. He loved animals. But again, did all of his constituents love animals? So I don't know how, but you can say, I'm not saying just picking him out, but you can say the same for any MP. So carry on, Kevin. I was interrupted there to explain.
Yeah, no, I mean that was it. Yeah, I think if he's voting on that as his personal thing, I don't think it should be. If you're representing someone or a group of people, you should go with the majority vote on these issues. As a politician, I believe that's your role. You're there to speak up for your the area you work in. But I mean, coming back to your original question, I don't think anyone deserves to be murdered for something that they believe in or their opinion. Sorry, carry on. Go, Richard. Go, Richard.
I don't know the full story of what we're talking about. I have to go for a minute.
So I was sorry, I didn't realize you had to go. So we're saying about David Amess voted against equal gay rights. He voted against allowing marriage of the same sex. He voted to get against laws to promote equality and human rights. So, but he loved animals, so that's all right. But do what he voted for, do they change the severity of what's happened at all in any way?
No, he was still assassinated.
Yeah, still assassinated.
Assassinated.
Murdered in this case. Murdered. Yeah. So that doesn't change the severity. Because we spoke about this ages ago about, do the actions of an individual ever affects like their historical context? Like we're talking about Churchill. Where we've got statues of him everywhere, and he did stuff for this country in the Second World War, but he was a huge racist, and hated and didn't want women's rights or anything, all that kind of stuff. I mean, do those? How far do we take someone when we venerate them or think about them? Do you boys think there's a line, but you're not sure where that line is?
Yeah, I'll agree with that. There is a line, but I'm not sure where it is. No. I'll be honest.
Just to kind of play devil's advocate a bit there. What about you, Kevin?
Yeah, no, I mean, I come from, I hate saying a religious background, but I have a faith, and I believe that I should take everyone as they come. It's not up to me to decide if they're a bad or a good person. Their actions can show me whether obviously I know what are good and bad actions, but I still believe that there are reasons a lot of people do things, and there's reasons why you should. And basically, what I'm trying to say is it's no good me wishing death upon that person and telling that person to F off and all that, when actually there may be some reasons behind it. Someone may have hurt them in the past, whatever. If I can't have a normal conversation with someone about it, then I'm just as bad as them, really. I need to be able to engage with them and understand why they're making decisions that they're making before I could just judge them if you like, you know.
Yeah. Anything else to add, boys?
No, I think Kevin summed that up quite well, to be honest. Very well done.
Yeah, well done,
thank you.
Kevin. Well done. Yeah, so I mean, just there's a few other things. I mean, Jo Cox, I should point out, you know, she was a Labour MP, more on the Liberal side. David Amess, definitely Conservative. So you can see kind of where a lot of that stuff comes down to. So on business and taxation, he generally wanted, you know, big corporations to stay as powerful as they are. Jo Cox didn't. She wanted them to a fairer tax system, and arguably that's why she was targeted. You know, before her surgery, because someone saw her as the enemy. But you can find out what your MP has voted on. I'm going to put it on there. If you are interested on theyworkforyou.com. So you can see MPs voting records. You can put in your, I'm just going to share the screen here actually. Just going to share the screen. So you can put in your postcode. Oh, there's my MP. So for where I live. And then I can have a look at his voting record.
I'm going to do the same.
He's not long been an MP, I don't think, so he hasn't had many votes, to be honest. So voted for capping civil service redundancy payments. That's about it. Voted a mixture of for and against measures to avoid reduce tax avoidance. Thanks, mate. Yeah, so yeah, it's one of those things you need to keep an. Oh, we voted against equal gay rights. Well, he's I don't like him. Oh, I think I just took Owen off the stream. There, sorry.
No, I was having a little glitches for a couple minutes. So
okay,
finally
okay, fair enough.
And I can hear myself in someone else's screen.
Oh, okay. It wasn't me. Yeah, so that's kind of brought us a bit to the end, a bit there. So it was a very deep conversation. I'm sorry I made your brains hurt again. Maybe there might be something nice we can talk about next week. We'll have to wait and see. So it's got to that time where we share something nice to cheer us all up after demolishing that subject. So Richard, share something nice or fun or happy that you want to share with everybody.
I feel 100% better.
Yay! Because he had the flu, bless him.
And I'm able to play darts again without
oh yeah, I forgot about your darts
or anything. Also, I am getting feedback.
You are getting feedback. Okay. Let me.
too.
You're getting feedback as well.
Owen.
Is it me?
What about
It
now?
happened after you came in.
Yeah, are you getting feedback?
No, anymore.
No, it's Owen's fault.
Is it me?
Yeah.
It's me.
Yeah, it's fine. Well, just leave yourself muted until you talk. That's fine. Right, Kevin. So, what a nice, fun thing have you got to share?
I picked up my camper van finally.
Yay! I haven't looked at the pictures yet. Actually, I need to look at the pictures.
Also, I still got feedback. It's somebody else. Strange.
Somebody else. Well, we're in the last 5 minutes anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We'll get through it. Owen, what's your fun thing?
I would say, I think the feedback was from Kevin. Anyway, I think it is Kevin.
It's your fault. You did it. It was you.
Yeah, it is you. If I was in Congress right now, I'll be told to get out. I've got two little things, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the DC fandom on the 16th, releasing some new trailers for the DC stuff. Oh my god, I was trying so hard to keep my away from spoilers. So glad I did, because the Batman trailer was absolutely sick. The Batman trailer was absolutely sick. Black Adam's little teaser was great. I love that. I love the little snippet that they got. The Flash movie with Michael Keaton's Batman coming back was a great little thing to see. Not really much for Peacemaker, to be perfectly honest. And the Arkham Knight game, like the concept, but not my type of thing. I'm canon-wise, Arkham City, Arkham Knight. Anyway,
Yeah.
so my other little fun thing I did was I think it was yesterday. I was at work, just doing my normal job, and I get a nice little family come in, and they were asking for a refund because, unfortunately, Venom is a 15. I'd like to mention to everyone that is watching right now, if you're going to go see a cinema in view in town, please make sure you bring identification of your age, because we're getting so many people coming in to watch Venom thinking it's a 12A, when in actual fact it's a 15. So please bring identification.
Are you saying I need my ID, Owen?
To be perfectly honest, definitely. Richard, unfortunately, you would probably be asked for ID as well. You'd probably be asked for ID. Anyway, they were coming in for a refund, and they still wanted to order some food still because they haven't eaten at all. So I ordered them some food, and they had this little girl, like one of their little sister maybe, probably about 6, and they were just like mentioning about having a.
So not even suitable for a 12.
No. They brought their sister because they just got off school and they were just going into the cinema to go and watch it, and they just brought their parent and their sister, so they didn't want to leave in the car. I guess. They ordered something to eat, and they were just mentioning about if they would enjoy, because they went and saw Spider-Man as well, thinking that I think that was a 12. That was a 12, but she was only about 6, so not judging the parent, but still, I was just having a good time, and she was just like really nodding her head like she really enjoyed it, and just seeing that girl just giving me a nod like she was just really happy to be told that did she enjoy it and all that sort of stuff. It just made me happy. It just made me really, really happy.
Oh, cool. Right. Well, I've got 2 things. So the first one is I know it's on TikTok. So I'm showing me. I'm young. I'm hip. I'm cool. So this first one is I want to show it because it's the power of young people. Now, this is in America, and this school decided to ban backpacks, obviously because of school shootings and stuff like that. But I like to think that this is very well done and a very good reaction from the young people. just yeah.
I want one of those M&M collars.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, I just think that is the most excellent protest you can possibly do. I think, to be honest, I just wanted to share it. And the second thing is a little short. I did laugh quite a lot at this dog who did something very silly.
Oh no.
Whoops.
He goes in so
gently. His face at the end, he just knows he's going, doesn't he? He just accepted it.
Poor guy. So yeah, there we go. That brings us to the end of Free to Talk TV. Thanks for watching those. We had loads of different viewers at some point. And the troll. It's the first time we've had a troll actually.
We've had a troll.
It was on YouTube. It's I think it's about time we actually had a troll through YouTube.
Was it Scancon 42? Any chance?
Well, the thing is that the troll wanted to troll us so much that they created a second account to troll us more.
I think that second account might have actually been there already. And it was just
maybe. But I just thought because they're both. I just had the impression that maybe they created it. But there we go. So thanks for watching or listening after the fact. Thank you everyone for coming on. Everyone say bye, stream. Bye, stream.
Bye, guys.
Stream.